10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
we're gonna get
4,
started.
3,
Listen
2,
to a little bit of Martin Luther King.
0.
At this time, I have the honor to present to you the moral leader of our nation. I have the pleasure to present to you Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
I am happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Five score years ago, a great American in whose symbolic shadow we stand today signed the Emancipation Proclamation. This momentous decree came as a great beacon light of hope to millions of Negro slaves who had been seared in the flames of withering injustice. It came as a joyous daybreak to end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later, the Negro lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later, the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. And so we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check, a check which has come back marked insufficient funds. But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient funds in the great vaults of opportunity of this nation. So we've come to cash this check A check that will give us upon demand the riches of freedom and the security of justice. We have also come to this hallowed spot to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the tranquilizing drug.
All right, what's up, everybody? This is Killa B on the Killa B stream. We're streaming live on Lee Chess right now, Daily Blitz Tournament. I'll be here till 1:30 playing in this Daily Blitz Tournament here. See, I'm struggling.
Now is the time.
I think I'm struggling.
To rise from the dark and desolate valley of segregation to the sunlit path of racial justice. Now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time.
Oh, definitely struggling.
To make justice a reality for all
Definitely
of
the
God's
struggle
children.
was real for sure.
It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. This sweltering summit of the Negro's legitimate discontent
Struggle is
will not pass until that is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. Those who hope that the Negro needed to blow off steam and will now be content will have a rude awakening if the nation returns to business as usual.
I don't know where I lost the thread to that one. Sacrifice for 3 pawns. I know it had to be something in there.
There will be neither rest nor tranquility in America until the Negro is granted his citizenship rights. The whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation until the bright day of justice emerges. But that is something that I must say to my people who stand on the warm threshold which leads into the palace of justice. In the process of gaining our rightful place, we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protests to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force. The marvelous new militancy which has engulfed the Negro community must not lead us to a distrust of all white people.
I should have berserked this one. 1600. Should have berserked. Missed the 3 points here.
Realize that their destiny is tied up with our destiny. And they have come to realize that
make sure you guys check out the wonderful clothing line. That's my sponsor. BCWArts.com, BCWArts.com. They have really good logos. Go over there and buy a hoodie. I'm a hoodie guy.
We cannot turn back.
I'm a hoodie guy from the hood.
Asking the devotees of civil rights,
which is not a negative thing, by the way.
When will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of the unspeakable horrors of
since he didn't want the D6 pawn, it could have been bishop takes e4,
we can never be satisfied.
Queen takes e4, and then queen
as
d6.
Long as our body is heavy with the fatigue of travel,
here?
Cannot gain lodging in the motels of the highways and the hotels of the
let's
city.
get over here.
We cannot be satisfied As long as the Negro's basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto to a
We
larger
need to play
one,
95 here.
we can never be
Trade off some
satisfied.
pieces. We're
As
up
long
a
as
piece.
our children are stripped of their selfhood and robbed of their
Okay.
dignity by
Guess
signs
not.
stating for whites only.
Okay, let's see. Let's play this here.
We cannot be satisfied as long as a Negro in Mississippi
And
cannot
this should
vote,
trade
and a
off
Negro
some
in New
pieces
York
here.
believes he has nothing for which to vote.
Let's take here first with check.
No,
Okay. Actually,
no,
I did
we
that
are
kind
not
of.
satisfied, and
backwards.
we will not be satisfied until justice
Actually
rolls
did that
down like
backwards, yeah.
waters and righteousness like a
Queen here
mighty
hits the
stream.
pawn here in H5 maybe.
I am not unmindful
Play here.
that some of you
We
have
haven't
come here
developed like we want to.
out of great trials and
Now I think we
tribulations.
can get it in.
Some of you have come fresh from narrow jail cells.
Let's
Some
trade
of you
these
have come
pieces
from
off.
areas where your quest
Okay, let's play
for
here.
freedom
Let's not let
left
them
you
run from
battered
the
by
trade.
the storms of persecution and
I
staggered
really
by the
should have
winds of
berserked
police
in
brutality.
this game here.
You have
I
been
should
the
have.
veterans of creative suffering.
Okay, let's see.
Continue to work with the faith
Rook B2.
that unearned suffering.
Can I play this
is
move? I
redemptive.
don't know.
Go
I am
back to
not.
Mississippi.
I'm weary of this.
Go back to Alabama, go back to South Carolina, go back to
Yes,
Georgia,
sir. So,
go back to Louisiana,
Here, I'll take the
go
pawn
back
structure.
to the
Weakness
slums
just
and
to trade
ghettos of
pieces
our
off
northern
here.
cities. Knowing that somehow this
And
situation
92 doesn't
can
work.
and will be
What
changed.
about knight takes here? Does
Let
that
us
work?
not wallow in the valley of despair. I say to you today, my friend,
Here, does that work? Yeah, let's play it this way. So fork here, so we take the rook
so
here.
even though we face the difficulties
I'm gonna play queen
of today
D2.
and tomorrow,
That should force another
I
trade.
still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the
Me too.
American dream. I have a dream.
And
that one
at
day,
queen E4, we could play.
This
okay, what did
nation
we do there?
will rise up
Take this.
and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold
I
these
should take
truths
that
to
too.
be self-evident that all men are created equal.
And if he doesn't trade, we will double
I have a dream
on the. Okay, so we can just trade here.
that one day on the red hills of Georgia,
Take this here.
the sons of former
Bring that
slaves and the
here.
sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream
Then
that
here.
one day,
Then here.
even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice,
Hey, what's up, Coach Galvin? What's going on, man?
will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice.
Playing in
I
the
have a
Daily
dream
Blitz tournament on Lead Chess, bro.
that my four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
I should have berserked that last player for sure. Alright, here we go. I'm gonna berserk this person here. If I'm ever gonna try to get close to first place, I have to berserk these lower players.
In Alabama, with its vicious racists,
Alright, so this is, we're gonna be learning this system and playing the rat the whole game here. I'm gonna play this move C4. This seems to be a good move here in his position. Already it looks like it worked out. Uh-oh, what's happening here?
As sisters and brothers, I have a dream today.
Okay.
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted. And every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough
keep
places
this
will be made plain,
pressure
and
on
crooked
the
places will be
D7
made
knight
straight.
here.
And the glory
Let's
of the
take
Lord
this too.
shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together.
Okay.
This is our hope. This is
All right, there we go. So bishop to a6. We want to get that in because the bishop, this rook is
we will be able to hew
probably
out of the
trapped here.
mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood.
And let's take
With
that
this
here.
we will be able to work together, to pray
He's going to
together,
probably play the
to
move
struggle
queen to
together,
b6.
to go to jail
He
together,
didn't play that.
to stand up for freedom together.
All right.
Knowing that
I'm going to try this move, queen to
one day.
b3, see what he does here. Oh, he does.
This will
All right,
be
so
the
maybe
day.
bishop d3. He wants to stop me from...
This will be the
Okay,
day
he
when
did
all
not
of
want to
God's
do that.
children
So we're going to go rook takes
be able
a7.
to sing with new meaning,
And
my country tears of
I think we're going to keep our king in the center in this position here.
liberty of thee I sing. Land where my fathers
I wonder if
died,
I care
land of
about
the
that. I
pilgrims
probably do.
pride.
We'll
From
go rook to
every
b7.
mountainside, let freedom ring, and if America is to be a great nation,
Okay,
this
and we
must
do have
become
knight to
true.
d7, but we're going to go
So
king to
let
d2.
freedom
Keep the king in
ring.
the center because this is the end
From
game.
the prodigious
I have a
hilltops
minute
of New
and
Hampshire,
34 seconds
let
left.
freedom ring. From the mighty
It's
mountains of
free.
New York,
Daily, no, this
let
tournament,
freedom ring
everything on
from
Lead
the
Chess is
lightning
free,
Alleghenies of
for sure.
Pennsylvania.
This just started at
Let
1
freedom
o'clock,
ring from the
Coach
snow-capped
Galvin.
Rockies of Colorado.
All right,
Let
I'm
freedom
going
ring
to take
from
this
the
here
curvaceous
because
slopes
if
of
knight takes,
California.
we'll
But
go
not
rook
only
takes
that,
here. Make sure there's
let
no
freedom
mistakes
ring
by me
from
here. Knight
Stone
takes
Mountain of
f4.
Georgia.
There we go.
Let freedom ring from
And there
Lookout
is
Mountain
a
of
check
Tennessee.
here. I
Let
don't know if I
freedom
like that
ring
check,
from
but
every hill and
we have a rook
molehill of
coming here.
Mississippi.
All
From
right, now we
every
can grab this
mountainside.
file, which is what we've
Let
been waiting
freedom
on.
ring, and when this happens,
We're gonna go knight to
when we
e5 and
allow
double
freedom
attack
ring,
the. Okay, let's go
when
in
we
here.
let it ring from every village and every hamlet,
You
from
might play
every
f6.
state and every
No,
city.
we'll just double the
We
rooks
will be
on the
able
7th
to
rank.
speed up that day when all of God's children, black
And we'll
men and
take
white
these.
men, Jews and Gentiles,
And actually, we'll
Protestants and
take
Catholics,
everything. So
will
even
be
if he
able to
plays
join
this here,
hands and sing
we'll
in the
just take
words of the
everything
old
here.
Negro spiritual. Free at
And
last,
we'll just start
free at
pushing this stuff
last.
here.
Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
And let's cut the king out. All right, so he resigned, helped us out. That's good. I'm gonna turn this speech down a little bit so you guys can hear me. Oh, he's berserking me. Okay. Everything looks pretty good from him right now. Okay. He's moving kind of a little bit too fast, but we'll see what we can do about that. Boom. There he goes. Knew he was moving a little too fast. Let's go here. Bishop c6. Let's go here. Maybe queen d5. Aha. Alright. I actually do not like how I played this here. Queen takes d4. This is... Whoa, what did he do there? Alright, so he went another route. So let's go knight takes here. Whoa. Ah, I see. I see what I did there. Okay. I see what I did there. Whoa, 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 whoa. I don't know about that move. Let's check here. Let's go here. You're gonna queen d8 maybe. Or queen to c7. Queen a4. So here I kind of blundered a piece in the opening, but I have extra pawn and the king is stuck in the center. So there's enough compensation for this here.
To end the long night of their captivity. But 100 years later,
What's happening here?
is not
I could take this first of all. So,
100 years later,
first of all, let me take here, then here. Oh, but do I want to do that?
of segregation and the chains of discrimination. 100 years later,
I'll be even again. Okay. Nope. Okay. We'll take here.
of a vast ocean of material prosperity. 100 years later,
And he can't take on E5. Okay. That's what I thought.
the Negro is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile.
Alright.
in his own
So I am lower in time here. So I got to get a move on.
lives of shameful conditions. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a debt. And the architects of our
But I have an extra pawn,
wrote the magnificent
which could be a good thing.
the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence.
Whoa.
They were signed
Definitely a good thing now.
promissory notes, which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men
King and pawn in game. Pawn down is usually not a good idea. We're going to create a passed pawn on this side of the board just to make a distraction on the other side. And we're going to...
pursue the happiness. It is obvious today that America has defaulted on this promissory note insofar as her citizens of color are concerned. Instead of honoring this sacred obligation, America has given the Negro people a bad check. A check which has come back marked insufficient funds.
And we're just scooping these up here.
But we refuse to believe that the Bank of Justice is bankrupt. We refuse to believe that there are insufficient
And we can just take that one.
of opportunity of this nation. So we've come to cash
Okay,
this debt,
hold on. I gotta make sure no mouse slips here.
demand the riches of freedom and the security of
Actually, it is some... I am really mouse slipping here. So I'm just gonna do it the easy way. Alright.
to remind America of the fierce urgency of now. This is no time to engage in the luxury of cooling off or to take the
See, I'm slipping. I'm falling. I can't get up. Slipping. I'm falling. I can't get up.
Now is the time to make real the promises of democracy. Now is the time to rise from the dark and desolate valley of
Alright.
segregation and the path of racial justice. Now is
Okay. I said I was gonna play this here.
from the quicksands of racial injustice
Okay.
to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. It would be fatal for the nation to overlook the urgency of the moment. This sweltering summit of the Negro's legitimate discontent will not pass until that is an invigorating autumn of freedom and equality. 1963 is not an end, but a beginning. Those who hoped that the Negro needed to blow off steam and will now be content
Okay.
with a rude awakening if the nation returns to business as usual.
Let's play here. Let's see it.
There will be neither rest nor tranquility in America.
Let's see it.
Negro has granted his citizenship rights. The whirlwinds of revolt will continue to shake the foundations of our nation. until the bright day of justice emerges. But that is something that I must say to my people who stand on the warm threshold which leads into the palace of justice.
Let's sacrifice here and see what we get here.
In the process of
Let's see
gaining our
what
rightful
we
place,
get here.
we must not be guilty of wrongful deeds. Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup
All right,
of
let's
bitterness
take
and hatred.
and check.
We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical
Oh boy. Okay.
gain and again. We must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force.
All right, I think there's enough pawn structure weaknesses here that we could just take this
which has engulfed the Negro community.
and try to play this position
Must
out.
not lead us to a distrust of all
I
white
think there is enough,
Many
guys.
of our white brothers, as
I think there is
evidenced by
enough
their presence here today,
pawn structure weaknesses for us here.
destiny is tied up with our destiny.
Castle here.
They have come to realize that their freedom is inextricably bound to our freedom. We cannot walk alone.
Okay.
As we walk, we must make the pledge that we shall always march ahead. We cannot turn back. There are those who ask in the devotees of civil rights.
Ooh, don't like that move.
We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of the unspeakable horrors of police
But okay.
brutality. We can never be satisfied as long as our body is heavy with the fatigue of travel.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Gotta make sure I don't get mated.
We cannot be satisfied as long as the Negro's basic mobility is from a smaller ghetto to a larger one.
Bishop is coming back. There's a check gonna be coming. I think. Would that be checkmate?
We cannot be satisfied as long as a Negro in Mississippi cannot vote, and a Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote. No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. I am not unmindful that some of you have come here
Ah, it's not enough time.
Some of you have come dressed from narrow jail cells. Some of you have
All right, that was very disappointing there.
left you
And like I said, I was gonna play this Daily Blitz just for 30 minutes because
by the winds of police.
I have to do a chess lesson with one of the Implodians. Of course, this is the channel called the Implodian here. I am the head Implodian out of about 247 Implodians, and we are people that use imbalances to read the board. That's our system. That's our group. And I am Killa B. Thank you for joining this live stream here, YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook if you're watching this. Hopefully you guys subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be streaming much more with some interactive games and instruction. And make sure you check out my sponsor, Wonderful Clothing Line, at bcwarts.com. And if you have children that want to play the game of chess online, we have tournaments they can register for at MichiganJuniorChessArena.com. MichiganJuniorChessArena.com. So, For all the other implodians, I am Killa B, implodian out.